We tend to really encourage their friendships with kids whose parents we really like, because then when we get together, they are having a good time and we're really having a good time, and so it's a whole new level of multitasking, you know. I don't know, does that answer it?
So tell me, one last question before we open up to the audience. With your many accomplishments, what are you most proud of? Jennifer, we'll start with you.
I would say I'm most proud of the feeling I have of comfort that I have accomplished both work and family life in a way that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And I think it happened because I came to a realization that the definition of having it all is constantly changing. So that sometimes having it all means you're getting promoted, you're getting a bigger salary, more responsibility, and you get really excited. Other days, your kids are sick, you haven't been to work in 2 days because they can't get over their fevers, and you're saying, all I want is for you to get better so I can go do my dumb job and get paid, you know. So, and then other days, all you want to do is be able to make the kids play that you're going to have to miss. And so every day, having it all is a different, is a different definition. And I feel like I now understand that, and now I realize how to balance it, and that because we have this changing definition, I can consider both things that I've done as an accomplishment. So I feel really good about that.
Lisa, what's your greatest accomplishment?
I had to put it in the framework of probably mentally my biggest accomplishment is realizing that I can't be the best at everything I do. And being able to walk away with that and saying that's okay, because when I take it collectively, it's good. Within that framework, I have to say the thing that I'm most proud of is coining the society as developing people. And when I say that, it really incorporates both sides of my life. It's developing, hopefully, 2 boys who see a mom who's been, you know, strong-willed, stern, nice, makes great eggs for dinner, and has pulled it together and are growing into wonderful young men. But on the flip side, it's also developing the people that I work with. I mean, in my role, I work with so many people every day, and there's nothing that gives me more pleasure than taking someone from here and getting them to there and watching their career take off and fly. That to me is absolutely the most rewarding thing, and being able to get into a role where I lead people and oversee a lot of people, that to me will forever be kind of the lasting legacy and the pride in my job.
So one advantage these women have had is they've had lifelong partners. As a single mom that I am, a whole other conversation, but that's for another time. So Caprice and Cindy, quickly tell us, what's your point of greatest pride?
Point of greatest pride is integrating all the different pieces, parts of things that I wanted to have and just kind of blending it together. So wanted to give something back to the community, wanted to use my technical legal skills, wanted to have a family, just kind of molding that together.
Great. Cindy?
And I believe my greatest satisfaction is that same combination of job and family and extracurricular activities that have been so much fun. I have a great satisfaction in the fun level of that I've been able to accomplish, and want to be sure to maintain that going forward.
Thank you. Excellent.
Well, great. I want to thank everyone for their comments. Just have a few announcements here. Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we're listening to a panel featuring Caprice Bragg of the Cleveland Foundation, Cindy Einhouse of the Beck Center of the Arts, Elizabeth Oliver of Key Bank, and Jennifer Thomas of the Civic Innovation Lab. Now we would like to return to our speakers for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphones are City Club New Leader members Kim Rathbone and Manju Gupta. First question, please.
Hi, good afternoon. You all talked briefly about balancing having it all. One of my biggest fears as a young single woman wanting to have it all is having it all at the expense of myself. Do you find that you have to sacrifice you time, or do you guys get that in at all, now that you have it all?
I have no fingernails. They're not painted, there's no tips, there's no nothing. So, but in the relative scheme of things, there are things that go. I think probably most importantly, the challenge is finding just alone time, or more importantly, from a health perspective, as I sit here as the chair of the board of the Heart Association, is finding exercise time. and finding time to really invest in your health is tough. But you get creative. You decide that wrestling with your kids is a good activity and it's got to burn 100 calories a night. So it's just a perspective and a way to look at it.
It's harder in the earlier years, too, when the kids are really little. And you really don't have much time to yourself is when it's really difficult. But the one thing about balancing being a mother and a wife and having a career is that a lot of it's short term, so that it does change constantly. And I find that some of the things I couldn't even think about doing when the kids were 2 and 4, I can easily do now. And one is exercise. So there are periods in your life when you do sacrifice for yourself, but at other times you don't have to.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is really preserving self-time and understanding that that's going to change all the time. I would be kidding you if I told you that that wasn't something that I struggle with every week, which is how to just wedge in a little bit of time for journaling or some self-reflection or walking, because the point about exercise is such an important one. But that's the thing that, week to week, I'm trying to just preserve a little bit of me time. Just so that I can be healthier in my perspective.
And I think it's important to remember that perfection is highly overrated.
Very true.
But I would suggest that we as women tend to be the quintessential caregivers, looking after everyone else. So I think this thing about taking care of yourself has to be very intentional. It is carving out that space and that little bit of time, but it has to be done, I think, very intentionally. Otherwise, it won't happen.
Hi. My question is about the times in your lives when your children were younger. Did your careers feel like they were on hold at all during that time? And you talked about when your kids were 2 and 4. I've got a 2 and a 6-year-old, and it seems like one is sick, gets over it, and the other one is. And
I thought I was going to get fired every day. That's every day. I'm like, today's the day I'm going to get fired.
So if you could comment on, for all of you, when your kids were younger, how that impacted your careers. Were they sort of on hold, and then were you able to skyrocket when you got older? That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I think it helps a lot if you have a family member in town that can help you with that. I don't know what we would have done if our moms hadn't been available to go, get the kids from the daycare as soon as they started exhibiting those signs. You didn't have to have that discussion with the daycare manager of, what really constitutes diarrhea. Support system.
I would say, yeah. It does change. It definitely changes, and you're in the weeds right now. And in a way, you just have to be really creative. Like Lisa said, the cell phone and the conference calls. Just get the work done any way you can, because that's how it will happen in those years. And then I can reassure you, it changes, because they do start to become more responsible, and they can take care of themselves, and they won't be this sick all the time, and you'll find that you won't feel like you're going to get fired.
I would give you one different perspective, though, quickly, which is I would say, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when I was pregnant with my oldest, times are very different. So for those of you who are entering this phase of your life or kind of in the throes of it and feeling that way, the workforce environment as a whole is so much more appreciative of what dual parenting, single parenting, what it means to be involved in child rearing and having a quality work-life balances. I mean, even at the top of Key Corp at this point, there are conversations about how do we achieve work-life balance. Everyone goes, we can't, and we walk out. But people are aware of it, and it's a dialogue around a conference table. And I have men who I interview, senior men on my team, leading big middle market groups, who have come to me when I interviewed them and said, I want to let you know, I'm very involved in my son's sports. How do you perceive me coaching a team and needing to be out early or leave early in the afternoons, and it's very important to me as